Picture this. It's 4:18 a.m. on a rainy Monday morning in Midlothian, Texas. Inside the Creekside Church of Christ, surveillance cameras capture something that will haunt investigators for years to come. A figure dressed head to toe in full SWAT gear, tactical vest, helmet, gloves walks through the darkened hallways with an unsettling, awkward gait. They're smashing windows, breaking into rooms, wandering aimlessly. But this isn't a police officer. This isn't even a real tactical unit. This is a killer. And in less than 30 minutes, 45-year-old fitness instructor Missy Bevers will arrive at this church to set up for her early morning workout class. She'll never leave alive. What makes this case truly terrifying is what happens next. Despite crystal clear surveillance footage of the murderer, despite thousands of tips, despite one of the most intensive investigations in Texas history, the killer has never been identified. The person in that SWAT gear remains a ghost. And the footage of them casually strolling through that church waiting has become one of the most chilling pieces of evidence in modern true crime. This is the story of Missy Bevers, a brutal murder caught on camera, and a mystery that refuses to be solved. Missy Bevers was, by all accounts, living the American dream. A 45-year-old mother of 3 daughters, she was married to her husband, Brandon, and deeply involved in her community in Midlothian, Texas, a quiet suburban town about 25 miles southwest of Dallas. But Missy was more than just a devoted mother and wife. She was passionate about fitness and helping others achieve their health goals. She worked as an instructor for Camp Gladiator, a popular outdoor boot camp fitness program. Her AM classes were known for her infectious energy and genuine care for her students. April 18, 2016 started like any other Monday. Missy woke up around AM to prepare for her early morning class at Creekside Church of Christ. Her husband Brandon was out of town on a fishing trip in Mississippi with their daughter. It was raining heavily that morning, so Missy had arranged to hold the class indoors at the church, where Camp Gladiator had permission to use the facility. She posted on Facebook at 4:19 a.m., checking in with her class members about the weather and confirming they'd meet inside. She had no idea that at that exact moment, surveillance cameras inside the church were recording someone in full tactical gear breaking into rooms and roaming the halls. Missy arrived at the church around 4:35 a.m. Her students would begin arriving around a.m. But when the first class member pulled into the parking lot at 5 o'clock a.m., they found something wrong. The church's glass doors were shattered, and inside, in one of the hallways, they discovered Missy Bevers lying in a pool of blood. She'd been murdered. Within hours, investigators obtained the church's surveillance footage, and what they found was both incredibly valuable and deeply disturbing. The cameras captured the killer entering the building at approximately 3:50 am, 45 minutes before Missy arrived. The figure is dressed in what appears to be full SWAT or police tactical gear, a helmet with police markings, a tactical vest, gloves, and dark clothing. They're carrying what looks like a hammer or pry bar. But here is what makes the footage so eerie. This person isn't moving like someone on a mission. They're wandering, casually strolling through the hallways, breaking windows seemingly at random, opening doors, looking into rooms, moving on. They appear to be killing time, literally. Investigators believe the killer was lying in wait for Missy. They knew she'd be there. They knew she'd be alone. And they had rehearsed or planned this down to knowing which entrance she'd use. The footage shows the suspect's distinctive walk and unusual gait that investigators believe could be key to identifying them. Some experts suggested the person might have an injury or a specific way of walking. Others thought the awkward movement might be deliberate, an attempt to disguise their identity. The murder itself wasn't captured on camera. It occurred in an area outside the camera's view. But the medical examiner determined Missy died from multiple puncture wounds to her head and chest. The attack was brutal, personal, and sustained. What's especially chilling is that after reviewing all the footage, investigators couldn't determine the suspect's gender, height, or even build with certainty. The bulky tactical gear concealed everything. Was this a man? A woman? Young? Old? The costume was the perfect disguise. And then the killer simply walked out, disappearing into the rainy pre-dawn darkness. They've never been seen again. The Missy Bevers case immediately captured national attention. The FBI, ATF, and multiple local agencies joined the investigation. Over 10,000 tips poured in. Surveillance footage from nearby businesses was collected. Digital evidence was analyzed. Hundreds of people were interviewed. But every lead seemed to hit a dead end. Early in the investigation, police revealed they were looking at several theories. Was this a burglary gone wrong? That seemed unlikely. Nothing was stolen, and the suspect appeared to be waiting specifically for Missy. Was it a targeted hit? But who would want Missy Bevers dead? Investigators began looking into Missy's personal life. Like many true crime cases, the people closest to the victim became subjects of scrutiny, not because there was concrete evidence against them, but because statistically, victims often know their killers. Brandon Bevers, Missy's husband, was out of town during the murder and cooperated fully with police. He was eventually cleared. Still, investigators examined the couple's marriage. There were reports that both Missy and Brandon had been involved in extramarital affairs or inappropriate communications with others, leading to speculation about jealousy or revenge motives. Missy's father-in-law also became a person of interest when internet sleuths noticed similarities between his gait and build and the suspect in the video. Police obtained search warrants for his home and reviewed his alibi, but he was never arrested or charged. He later filed a lawsuit against online personalities who publicly accused him of involvement. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence emerged from analyzing the tactical gear. Investigators determined it was likely purchased from sporting goods stores and wasn't authentic police equipment. They released images asking the public to help identify where the specific items might have been bought, but this led nowhere conclusive. Another theory focused on the vehicle. Surveillance footage from nearby businesses showed a light-colored Nissan Altima driving around the church area around the time of the murder. Police desperately wanted to identify this vehicle and its driver, but despite massive publicity, they never confirmed if it was connected to the crime. Then there's the digital evidence. Police obtained search warrants for Missy's communications, social media, and electronic devices. While they've never publicly detailed what they found, they've indicated that Missy's online activity provided potential leads about people who might have had issues with her. But here's the frustrating reality. Despite all this evidence, despite the surveillance footage, despite thousands of tips and years of investigation, no arrests have been made. No charges have been filed. The killer remains unidentified. So why, with video footage of the actual killer, has this case gone cold? The tactical gear disguise was devastating. The murder of Missy Bevers represents one of modern true crime's most frustrating paradoxes. We have extraordinary evidence, clear surveillance footage of the killer, detailed timelines, extensive forensic analysis, yet no resolution. Missy's family continues to seek justice. Her daughters have grown up without their mother. Her husband has had to rebuild his life while living under the shadow of one of Texas's most notorious unsolved murders. The community of Midlothian was shaken by the brazenness of the crime, a murder in a church, captured on camera and still unsolved. The case raises uncomfortable questions about the limits of modern investigation. If we can solve a murder with video footage of the suspect, what does that say about other cases with far less evidence? How many killers are walking among us, their crimes perfect enough to evade justice? For those who followed this case, who watched that disturbing footage of the figure in SWAT gear wandering those church hallways, one question haunts above all others: who is under that helmet? Is it someone Missy knew? A stranger with an incomprehensible motive? Someone still living in Midlothian, watching the investigation from the inside? If you have any information about the murder of Missy Bevers, the Midlothian Police Department continues to accept tips. Sometimes cases that seem hopeless break open because one person finally decides to speak up. Until then, the figure in the SWAT gear remains one of true crime's most chilling mysteries, a killer caught on camera but never caught in real life. And somewhere, possibly watching videos about this very case, the person who murdered Missy Bevers knows they got away with it. At least, for now. Subscribe for more video like this.